What's going on, everybody? We've got a big Sunday slate in Major League Baseball, and there are a few games here that really stand out from a betting angle. I'm going to keep this one moving, give you the numbers, the matchup edges, and where I'd be leaning based on what we know. Let's get right into it. First up, we've got the Cincinnati Reds heading to New York to take on the Yankees. The Reds come into this game off a huge 10-2 win in Game 2 of the series, so they've got a little momentum going into this one. And honestly, they should feel pretty good about sending Chase Burns to the mound here. Burns has been excellent. He's 8-1 on the year with a 2.01 ERA, and he's coming off 5 shutout innings against the Mets in a 12-0 win. Before that, he gave up 2 runs over 5 1/3 against the Padres, and then 2 runs over 6 against the Royals. Over his last 5 starts, the Reds are 4-1, and in none of those outings has he allowed more than 2 earned runs. My best pick here is Reds to win. I don't mind the over, because I do think some offense is likely. But my favorite angle here is Cincinnati. I'd rather take the Reds for the full game, or even isolate them in the first 5 with Burns on the mound. Next up, we've got the Milwaukee Brewers heading to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Milwaukee is 45-29 on the year, but they've had a tough stretch lately. They blew yesterday's game 4-3, and now they've lost 3 straight close games. That's the kind of stretch where you start needing a bounce back pretty badly. They'll send Robert Gasser to the mound here. He's 0-3 with a 4.88 ERA, but his last outing was a good one. He went 5 2/3 against Cleveland, allowed just 2 hits, and didn't give up a run. So there is some reason for optimism. The Brewers' bullpen is one of the better parts of this team. A 3.53 bullpen ERA is very solid, and that gives them a chance to stay in games even when the starter doesn't go deep. The issue lately has been the offense. They've only scored 3, 2, and 2 runs over their last 3 games. That's not great, even if the season-long numbers still look strong. They're 4th in runs scored and 4th in batting average overall, but they're not swinging it well right now. This one is interesting to me because I can make a case for both the Brewers and the under. We haven't seen a lot of offense in this series, both bullpens are strong, and neither starter is someone I want to blindly trust. That makes it hard for me to love a game getting into double digits. On the side, I actually like Milwaukee at plus 118. I don't think they drop 3 straight here, and with Gasser coming off a strong outing, they've got enough to stay competitive. If he gets into trouble, they can always lean on that bullpen. So in this matchup, my best pick is Brewers, and I'm also leaning under. Next game, we've got the Chicago White Sox heading to Detroit to take on the Tigers. Chicago is 39-36 on the season, but they've been sliding lately, losing 4 of their last 5 and dropping the first 2 games in this series. They'll give the ball to Davis Martin here. Martin has been really good overall this year, going 9-3 with a 3.31 ERA, but 2 of his last 3 starts have been rough. He got lit up by the Yankees in his last outing and also had a bad start against the Twins, though he did have a solid performance against the Braves in between. So you've got a pitcher with good season-long numbers but a little bit of recent volatility. Chicago's bullpen has also been a problem. A 4.26 bullpen ERA is not where you want it to be. The offense has dried up too, which makes sense when you look at the injuries they've dealt with. Over their recent games, they've scored 13, 5, 2, and 6. Season-long, they're 12th in runs scored, 21st in batting average, and 8th in slugging percentage. They should be better once healthier, but right now they're still missing pieces. Detroit comes in at 32-44 and has won 2 straight. They'll go with Kiermonto, who is 3-5 with a 3.67 ERA. He was knocked around in a bullpen appearance against the Astros, but his last start was excellent against the Twins. He also shut down the White Sox on May 31st, going 6 innings, allowing 2 hits and no runs in a game the Tigers eventually lost 2-1. That's important, because it tells you he can handle this lineup. This is a weird one for me. I actually think the White Sox are probably going to win a game in this series at some point, and this could be the spot. Davis Martin is the kind of arm I can get behind more than the market might be giving him credit for, and I'm not fully convinced the Tigers are going to sweep. This is not a game I want to get too aggressive with, but if I had to pick a team, my best pick is White Sox to win. I could also see a low-scoring game, so under is at least worth a look. Next up, we've got the San Francisco Giants heading to Miami to take on the Marlins. The Giants are still looking for their first win in the series, and they'll hand the ball to Logan Webb. That immediately gets my attention. Webb is 4-4 with a 3.46 ERA, and since coming back healthy, he's been really good. Over his last 4 starts, he's allowed just 2 earned runs total. That's exactly the kind of form you want from your best arm. The Giants' bullpen has had some issues lately, sitting at a 4.24 bullpen ERA. The offense has also been a little strange. Over their recent games, they've scored 3, 7, 7, and 5 runs. They're still second in batting average and 6th in slugging percentage, but somehow only 21st in runs scored. So the raw hitting numbers are there, but the run production hasn't fully followed. This is one of my stronger sides on the board. Logan Webb at -140 feels like a price I can live with, especially against a pitcher like Gusto who has not been good. The Giants also have the edge in the starting pitching matchup, and Miami may not be at full strength. So here, my best pick is San Francisco to win. Next, Washington heading to Tampa Bay to take on the Rays. Washington picked up a 4-3 win yesterday, and they'll send Andrew Alvarez to the mound here. Alvarez is 27 years old, left-handed, and has a 3.49 ERA. He started in relief but has moved into the rotation over his last 3 outings, and he's actually looked pretty good. His recent starts have been solid: 1 run allowed in 4 2/3 against the Marlins, 2 runs in 4 innings against the Giants, and 1 run in 4 innings against the Royals. Washington won 2 of those 3 games. That's a decent run. The Nationals' bullpen has been a problem all season, sitting at a 4.70 bullpen ERA. But the offense has been one of the best in baseball overall. Even though they've only scored 4, 2, and 2 runs over their last 3 games, they still rank first in the majors in runs scored. They're also 5th in slugging percentage and 12th in batting average. That's a big reason why they're dangerous. This one doesn't jump off the page as a huge value spot to me, but I do lean Rays at home. I don't fully trust Alvarez to keep things quiet for long, especially if he only goes around 4 innings, because that bullpen burden is a big problem. Nick Martinez at home in Tampa Bay in a bounce-back spot makes sense to me, so my best pick is Rays here. Next, we have Cleveland heading to Houston to take on the Astros. Cleveland gets the 8-1 win in Game 2, and now they come into Game 3 with Slate Cecconi on the mound. He's 3-5 with a 4.60 ERA, but he's coming off a really good stretch. Against Milwaukee, he allowed just 1 run over 5 2/3, and Cleveland still lost that game 2-1. Before that, he had strong outings against the Yankees in Milwaukee. That's the key for me here. Cecconi has looked much better over his last 3 starts, and now he gets an Astros lineup that has not looked nearly as dangerous at the plate as it did earlier in the season. This feels like a spot where the market may be overreacting to Houston's overall season-long reputation. Cleveland is +115, Houston is -135, and the total is 8.5. I don't have a strong total lean here, but my best pick is the Guardians at +115. Cecconi is trending the right way, and Houston has not been nearly as sharp as it looked early in the year. Next up, St. Louis heading to Kansas City to take on the Royals. The Cardinals are 40-34 and have lost 3 straight, including the first 2 games of this series. They're trying to stop the slide with Dustin May on the mound, and that's a pretty strong move. May is 5-6 with a 3.75 ERA, and over his last 4 starts he's been very solid. His last outing was a complete game shutout against the Padres, where he went 9 innings, allowed 1 hit, and struck out 9. That's about as good as it gets. He's also on full rest here, which is a big plus. He faced Kansas City back on May 15th and went 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and 3 earned runs. so the Royals have seen him, but he comes in much hotter this time around. My best pick is the under here quite. With these two starters, especially if Bobby Witt Jr. sits again, this could be a lower scoring game. On the side, I like Stephen Cole and the Royals at plus 100. He's been the better pitcher in this matchup, and I think Kansas City is the side to take. Next, Toronto heading to Chicago to take on the Cubs. Toronto got the 8-6 win in Game 2 after getting smashed 16-2 in Game 1. They'll turn to Dylan C in Game 3, and he's been very good this season. He's 4-3 with a 2.71 ERA, and over his last 5 starts, 4 of them have been premium level good. He's coming off 5 shutout innings against the Red Sox, and before that he threw 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Phillies. He hasn't faced the Cubs yet this year, but I'm expecting a strong outing. The Toronto bullpen has also improved, now down to a 3.87 ERA. The offense, though, is still not where people expected it to be. They're 23rd in runs scored and 21st in slugging percentage, even after putting up 8 runs in the last game. Chicago comes in at 40-37 and is 6.5 games back in the NL Central. They'll give the ball to Shota Imanaga, who is 4-6 with a 4.26 ERA. He struggled badly for a stretch before bouncing back with 2 good starts, though both came against Colorado. So this is a better test. I'm only leaning slightly toward Toronto here, but my best pick is the over, mainly because Imanaga can always run into trouble. But this game is not high on my board. Next up, San Diego heading to Texas to take on the Rangers. The Padres got a 6-4 win in Game 2 thanks to Manny Machado's 3-run homer in the 10th, and now they're in a tricky spot because they're sending Gio Gonzalez to the mound here. He's 2-2 with a 4.56 ERA and has been pretty mediocre in his recent starts. The Padres bullpen is excellent, sitting second in the majors with a 3.04 ERA. That's the strength of this team right now. The offense, though, is still the worst in baseball in overall production. Even after scoring 6, 7, and 6 in recent games, they remain the lowest scoring team in the majors and dead last in basically every major offensive category. Texas is struggling too. They've dropped 6 or 7 of their last 8, and they don't even have a confirmed starter here, which adds even more uncertainty. Their bullpen has been strong, but the pitching staff has been dealing with health concerns, and the offense has not been a strength either. The Rangers are 27th in runs scored and 24th in slugging percentage. That tells you a lot. My best pick is Rangers at home just because I want to fade Gio and I don't trust the Padres offense. But this is not a game I'm rushing to bet. Next, Pittsburgh heading to Colorado to take on the Rockies. The Pirates are down 2-1 in the current game, and they'll turn to Jared Jones in Game 3. He's 1-1 with a 6.23 ERA, and this has not been an easy season for him. He got shelled by Oakland last time out, struggled against Minnesota, and even his better outings haven't been all that clean. Pitching in Colorado is obviously not the easiest assignment either. Colorado comes in at 29-47 and will use Michael Lorenzen, who is 2-8 with a 7.13 ERA, though he's coming off back-to-back excellent starts against the Cubs. Earlier this season, he also pitched pretty well against Pittsburgh, allowing 2 runs over 5 innings in a 3-1 loss. The Rockies' bullpen has been awful at a 5.13 ERA, but the offense has shown signs of life. Hunter Goodman has been strong, Troy Johnson has helped, and they're actually 12th in runs scored, 7th in batting average, and top 10 in on-base percentage. I'll lean slightly toward Colorado at home in this one. Not a big play, just a small lean. I don't trust Jared Jones, and Lorenzen has shown enough lately to at least keep this competitive. Next up, Minnesota heading to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. This is one of the more uncertain games on the board because we've got almost no real confirmed information yet. Neither team has a confirmed starter, and if this turns into a bullpen game, that would be a huge problem for Minnesota because they have the worst bullpen ERA in the majors. The Twins are 36-41, but the offense has been really good. They're 7th in runs scored and 10th in slugging percentage. So the bats are there. Arizona is also in a messy spot. They've had some bullpen issues, and with Soroka on the injured list, things get even thinner there. Their offense has taken a step back too, ranking 22nd in batting average, 27th in on-base percentage, and 18th in runs scored. The early look suggests Minnesota will be a big underdog and Arizona a big favorite, but there's no total yet and not enough info to make a strong call. I am staying away from this one as firmly a wait-and-see game. Next, the Angels heading to Sacramento to take on the Athletics. This game is in progress right now with the Angels up 2-0 in the bottom of the third, and the Angels are looking for their first win in the series. The problem with the Angels is the rest of the roster. The bullpen has been one of the worst in baseball, and the offense has been mediocre at best. With Trout on the injured list, their leading power bat is missing. They're 14th in runs scored and 23rd in batting average. The Athletics are .500 and only half a game back in the AL West. They'll go with Jack Perkins, who has a 6.15 ERA and has allowed 5, 3, and 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. The A's bullpen has not been good at a 4.91 ERA, but the offense is the strength. They're top 10 in runs scored, 8th in batting average, and 3rd in slugging percentage. My best pick is Athletics here. The Angels keep finding ways to lose, and I think that can happen again in this one. Next up, Baltimore heading to Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers. Baltimore is 35-42 and lost Game 1, though they're currently up 3-0 in Game 2. Brandon Young gets the start here, and he's been pretty good. That's a solid run. The Orioles bullpen is just okay, sitting at a 4.56 ERA, and the offense hasn't quite lived up to expectations. They're 10th in runs scored, 20th in batting average, and 13th in slugging percentage. The Dodgers will go with Emmett Sheehan, who is 3-4 with a 4.76 ERA. He's been okay in recent starts, but the Dodgers bullpen has been up and down all season. The offense, though, is elite. They're 2nd in runs scored and 1st in basically every other major offensive category. That's why this team is always dangerous. That Dodgers price feels expensive, and my best pick is Baltimore to win. Sundays can get weird, and Young has been throwing the ball well enough to make this interesting. Next, Boston heading to Seattle to take on the Mariners. Boston is 30-43, but they've won Game 1 and are currently up 2-1 in Game 2. Peyton Tolley gets the start here. He's 3-4 with a 2.93 ERA, and overall he's been solid. He's had a few control issues, and last time out he gave up 3 runs over 5 innings against Toronto. Still, this is a pitcher I can work with. The Boston bullpen has been excellent, sitting at a 3.19 ERA, and that's one of the best parts of this team. The offense, though, is rough. They're 29th in runs scored and 26th in slugging percentage. Seattle is in first place in the AL West, and Logan Gilbert gets the start. He's 5-4 with a 3.43 ERA, and he's been in great form lately. That is a serious stretch. Seattle's bullpen has also been solid with a 3.52 ERA, but the offense has taken a step back from last year. They're 17th in runs scored, 24th in batting average, and 20th in slugging. My best pick is Seattle here. Gilbert's form is too good to ignore, and I think this has the feel of a low-scoring game. Under 6.5 is viable too, but if I'm choosing one side, it's the Mariners. Last game on the slate, Sunday Night Baseball, the Mets heading to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. The Mets are 34-42 and got smashed 15-3 in Game 2. They'll go with David Peterson here, and he's been struggling. He's 3-5 with a 5.91 ERA, and his last 3 bullpen appearances have been a mixed bag at best. The Mets bullpen has actually been one of the better parts of the team, sitting top 5 all season, but the offense has been a major issue. They're 25th in runs scored, 28th in slugging percentage, and 28th in on-base percentage. That's not a lineup I want to back confidently. Philadelphia, meanwhile, is sending Zach Wheeler to the mound, and he's been dominant. The Phillies bullpen isn't great, but Wheeler gives them a huge edge. Season long, they've been 23rd in runs scored, 27th in batting average, and 29th in on-base percentage, but the recent surge matters. This one feels like the Phillies in a strong bounce-back spot. Wheeler on the mound is the big factor, but my best pick is Phillies minus 1.5 here because of how badly Peterson has been throwing it. So that's the Sunday board. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It helps the channel a lot, and it lets me keep bringing you these daily picks and breakdowns. And I'll catch you in the next one.